Kicking off the list at number 10, Jade, aka Jennifer Lynn Hayden. She made her comic book debut in All-Star Squadron issue 25 back in 1983. She is the daughter of Green Lantern Alan Scott and Rose Canton, aka Thorn. Now after conceiving their children, Rose fled, fearing that she would harm them, right? So she gave them up for adoption and they were separated. Jenny Lynn, aka Jade, was adopted by a couple in Milwaukee in the suburbs. She didn't know she had a twin brother until her late teens. Surprise, nice. Once the two of them met up, they tried to join the Justice Society, but were rejected. But have no fear, the two of them joined other children of Justice Society and then formed Infinity Inc. And then Jade's powers are of course similar to her father's due to his exposure to magical energies. She's able to generate green energy and shape it into constructs according to her will, right? We all knew this. The sibling bond is a strong one. Jade and Todd both can communicate through a limited form of telepathy. It's a twin thing, you know? And guys, before we continue on to number 9, if you haven't already, go ahead and give us a thumbs up because it really goes a long way for us here at our Bat Cave. Also, huge news, we have another channel coming back after 3 years of running the show over here. Landon himself. He's not here, but if he was, he would be there. Landon himself is coming back with Landon Productions, premiering December 7th. So go and follow and then turn on your notifications because you don't want to miss what he's got coming. I've seen glimpses of it here at the studio and I'm pumped. Let's do it.
Is the Canada Goose gonna take it on?
I'm on top like I'm goddamn Mario, right? I'm just
Not today. Maybe tomorrow. Okay, is this real life right now?
Number 9, Zatanna. Appearing for the first time in Hawkman issue 4 back in 1964, Zatanna is the daughter of Zatanna. She's a stage magician and she's really good. Like, really good, because you know, she has actual magic abilities. So she makes a pretty decent amount of money with these shows, which makes sense. I mean, if I had these powers, I would do the exact same thing. David Blaine who? Bye. Her father helped out the Justice Society and the Justice League of America numerous times. He was like the magic guy on the team, although Zatanna got the official membership. She gets her deeds done by speaking her spells backwards. Her mother is quite noteworthy as well, I'd say. So Zatanna thought she had died in a car crash after her birth, but actually she's a Homo Magi, a race of magical humans that coexisted alongside Homo sapiens. And her name is Cinderella. She's from another dimension. How neat. The classic made you think I was in a car accident so I can fulfill my destiny with my own magical species scenario. Nice, classic. We've all been there. Number 8, Lord Chaos. Making his debut in New Titans Annual issue 7 back in 1991, Lord Chaos is the son of Donna Troy and Terry Long. Now, Donna Troy may have a pretty confusing backstory, but her son, Robert Long, isn't as crazy. So let me explain. He was born with the powers of a god, right? So with that, he ended up going a little bit mad, right? A little bit crooked. So he ages himself, kills his own mother, and then of course becomes the dictator known as Lord Chaos. Nice, dude. Awesome. Great plan. Yeah, his name sounded evil for a reason, so you were onto something. Inspired by the original Titans team, a group of super teens going by the name Teen Titans go back in time to kill Donna before Lord Chaos, the now evil world conquering god, was born. Not a bad idea. We love time travel, let's do it. But here's the fun part, Lord Chaos goes back with them in order to prevent them from killing his mother / him. Gotcha, there he goes. So Robert was still born, but thankfully the Titans of Myth stepped in and stripped the mother and child of these godlike powers. The Titans of Myth bringing along Lord Chaos, stating he will either learn or cease to be. Learn or cease to be. This sounds like my grade 12 math teacher. He'll either learn or he'll cease to be. Now look at me, ceasing to be. Sorry, Mr. Lake. Number 7, Maxine Baker. The daughter of Buddy Baker, aka Animal Man, has quite the abilities. In the pre-Flashpoint era, Maxine Baker wasn't a huge character, right? But she of course picked up some of the powers from her father, those powers being the ability to tap into the life web and control it. And with the new 52, Maxine got bigger and badder. She became the avatar of the Red, which sounds a lot cooler already. I mean, come on. The Red is another name for the life web. So Maxine can control every animal on Earth as well. And that's not all. She's super powerful, guys. She can also control the elements and create this Eldritch Blast. It's no wonder most of the time people are trying to get a handle on her powers. I mean, even she struggles with them. Patrolling animals would be a sweet gig, eh? Imagine the practical jokes. Oh my god. Number 6, Thunder. Making her first appearance in Outsiders Volume 3, Issue 1, Thunder is the daughter of Black Lightning and Lynn Stewart. So Anissa Pierce had a pretty nice deal with her father, okay? The deal was that if she graduated from college, only then can she consider a career in crime fighting. And the night of her graduation, that is exactly when she donned the costume. It didn't take long for her to get approached by Red Arrow, who offered her a position in the Outsiders. Her father though, her father's like, no, you have to resign from these crazy people, I don't like this. And of course she said, no way, Jose. And then, when Savick came sniffing around again, her father actually helped the team out and her. And this was a cool time. This was the first time they had actually seen each other in action. What a moment that would be, eh? So Anissa was trained by Nightwing in combat, nice. She's a trained doctor, nice, hence the whole education before kicking ass deal. That plus her abilities to increase the mass of her body and become like immovable and super strength. Look out, you're toast.
Coming in at number 5, we have Terry McGinnis, aka the next Batman. Originally appearing in the beloved animated series Batman Beyond, Terry was the sarcastic and wisecracking next-generation Batman in a dystopian future Gotham, led by an elderly and retired Bruce Wayne. However, unlike Nightwing, Terry's connection to Bruce wound up being more than just as an adoptive father, as it was eventually revealed that Bruce Wayne is biologically Terry's father, as Terry's actual dad had his genetics replaced by those of Bruce Wayne, essentially making the two heroes related. Even without this connection though, Terry McGinnis stood out as a worthy successor to Batman, developing his own iconic rogues gallery and even being able to defeat villains that the original Batman never could, such as the Joker. Coming in at number 4, we have Hunter Prince, the potential future son of Wonder Woman. In the same dark future that Cyborg's son Cube hailed from, Wonder Woman was one of the first heroes to be infected by the darkness, giving birth to a son that could become an even more powerful vessel for the villain. Wonder Woman gave the boy up to Superman and Lois Lane, hoping that they would be able to prevent her son from going to the dark side, but unfortunately, Hunter believed his mother was giving him up because he was male, as was Amazonian custom. Growing up angry at the previous generation that had failed him, Hunter possessed all of the strengths of Wonder Woman, including her lasso of truth and bracelets of submission, making him a truly powerful and angry enemy. Coming in at number 3, we have 2 for the price of 1 with the Tornado Twins, the potential villainous children of the Flash. Born in the 30th century when Barry Allen had briefly retired there with Iris West, these versions of the twins grew up without a father, as Barry was believed to be dead and never returned to that timeline following the events of Crisis on Infinite Earths. Filling the place of Barry in his absence was unfortunately the Reverse Flash, a villain dead set on ruining Barry's life and creations in any way possible, and turning Barry's twin children into supervillains was right up his evil alley. Having since become members of the Legion of Zoom, a collective of speed-based villains, Dawn and Dawn Allen have the full power of the Speed Force at their disposal, making them incredibly powerful and incredibly dangerous. Coming in at number 2, we have Hyperman, a distant future version of the potential son of the Man of Steel. In the same reality where the storyline Kingdom Come took place, the young son of this reality Superman, Jonathan Kent, was kidnapped by the villain known as Gog and encased first in a prison of kryptonite and then trapped within the weird branch of reality known as Hypertime. Luckily, someone was there to watch over the infant, his own future self, a hero known as Hyperman that was destined to become even greater than Superman. The baby was eventually able to be saved through the joint efforts of the Kingdom Come universe and the main DC universe's heroes, and the Kingdom Come parents of this child are now determined to make sure that Hyperman's bright future becomes a reality. And finally, coming in at our top spot, we have John Kent, the true son of Superman. Half Kryptonian and half human, John Kent was the most recent hero to take up the mantle of Superboy, using everything he'd learned from his parents parents, Clark Kent and Lois Lane, to be an inspiring force for the people of Earth. Aging quicker than usual due to weird time travel and reality-hopping hijinks, John Kent has since become the new Superman, taking over his father's position as the defender of truth, justice, and a better tomorrow, and trying to find his own place in the growing DC Omniverse. And to make things even more interesting, Batman has even theorized after examining John's DNA that the unique combination of human and Kryptonian genetics in his blood might mean that he could surpass even his own father when it comes to power once he's fully grown. All of this is to say that John Kent is, in my opinion, the most powerful son of the Justice League. Coming in at number 10, we have Damien Wayne, the son of Batman. Genetically engineered and grown in an artificial womb following a night of passion between Talia al Ghul and Bruce Wayne, Damien was intended by the villain Ra's al Ghul to be his ultimate successor as the ruler of the League of Shadows. Trained to be an assassin from an incredibly young age, Batman wasn't even aware he had a son until the boy was 10 years old and left in his care by Talia. And while initially the father and son combo had some issues sorting out their issues and Damien's stance on Batman's whole no-killing rule, Damien has since become an important member of the Bat family as the fifth Robin and continues to be an essential ally of Batman to this day. Coming in at number 9, we have Shane Johns, the son of Martian Manhunter and Hawkgirl from an alternate future. While attempting to find a way to prevent Lex Luthor from unleashing the Dark Goddess Perpetua, the Justice League found themselves traveling through a six-dimensional doorway to a future where the forces of good had seemingly finally won their constant battle with the forces of evil. All of the members of the Justice League seemed to have found happiness, especially Hawkgirl and Martian Manhunter, who had an ambitious young son named Shane. Unfortunately, this reality turned out to all be a ruse by the World Forger, but in a weird twist, Shane still decided to ally himself with the real Justice League, and used his incredibly strong psychic abilities to help save the day. That'll do, kid. That'll do. Coming in at number 8, we have Cube, Cyborg's son from a dark possible future. Hailing from a world where a force known as the Darkness has threatened to corrupt all of the Earth's heroes, Cube's real name is George Marvin Stone. The son of Cyborg, Cube is literally a human mother box, connected down at the DNA level to one of the most iconic objects in the entire DC universe. Because of this complete integration with alien technology, Cube is able to perform all of the tech-based powers that his father has, alongside being capable of generating his own teleporting boom tubes whenever he wants. With all of those powers combined, Cube is definitely a cyborg you don't want to mess with.
Number 7, Supergirl, Kara Zor-El. Much like how Krypto was sent to Earth, Superman's older cousin, Kara Zor-El, was also sent to Earth. She was sent from the dying planet Krypton to protect Clark Kent. Well, rather Kal-El, but of course, as fate would have it, she was knocked off course by the explosion of her home planet. What a bummer. So she ended up in the Phantom Zone, of course. Now in the Phantom Zone, you can stay there for decades and not age at all. Your skin would look fantastic. That's actually what Kara did. So after her pod finally escaped, she landed on Earth and soon joined the Danvers family. Now of course, if you want to see her in action, you can catch the hit show Supergirl. Only 3 different actors have played her, the most recent and current run being portrayed by Melissa Benoist. So if you start binging it now, you can actually probably catch up for when the 6th and final season airs sometime next year when the world starts to be cool again. But if you want to start reading her from her comic book origins, you can find her first debut in Action Comics issue 252. And also, of course, the Justice League United issue 2. That's when things start cooking. Number 6, Fire. Beatriz da Costa is a founding member of the Justice League International. She made her first comic book appearance in DC Comics Presents, issue number 46. She started off as an amateur model, like we all do, in Brazil, and then became a showgirl and stage performer, and eventually she became an undercover secret agent for the Brazilian government. That's usually how it happens, right? I mean, I'm trying the exact same career path right now. I'm hoping Brazilian undercover agent is next. Checking my emails. So close. One of these missions, she was actually exposed to a pyroplasmic explosion. See the name Fire, you know, it's starting to make more sense now, eh? I gotcha. This caused her to obtain some superhuman powers, and at first sported the name Green Fury. And before the Justice League, she joined Global Guardians. Then along comes the Justice League International, and her and Ice Maiden decided to go and apply for this job. This was after Black Canary's resignation, and at this point, some members were being abducted. So the Justice League took them on, sporting the new, and I would say improved names, Fire and of course, Ice. Number 5, Booster Gold, aka Michael John Carter. There's the link. Picking up in Justice League International Volume 3, we find Booster Gold as somebody who craves attention, as we all do, but a leader that was controllable nonetheless. So he became a superhero after saving the life of President Ronald Reagan, using technology from the 25th century. Yeah, that ought to do it. Of course, after doing something like that on your first mission, you would get a high from that fame. Like, you can't top that, come on. Naturally, he became quite wealthy, and that is until his manager stole like all of his money. You gotta ride solo, people. Keep your stuff in your mattress. Keep your cash in your mats. I don't know, weird. In the revamped Justice League International in the late 80s, Booster was a main member. He got close with the Blue Beetle, Ted Kord, and they did some pretty funny missions together. Booster's suit was destroyed while fighting Doomsday, so good guy Ted Kord comes in and builds him a new suit. What a good friend. I don't have friends like that. Then while battling Overmaster, he lost that suit, and this time he also lost his arm. In comes good guy Ted Kord again, this time a new cybernetic arm to go along with it. I want a cool suit. All my friends give me are excuses. Number 4, Simon Baz. He's a Lebanese American born in Dearborn, Michigan. After seeing the attacks of the World Trade Center on the news when he was just 10 years old, he and his family faced ostracism because they were Muslim. His sister was even getting bullied and physically attacked, so Simon would have to intervene. Now, as the years went on, he got an engineering degree, and shortly after that, a job at an automotive plant. After the financial crisis hit, he was let go and had to resort to stealing cars and then reselling the parts just to make ends meet. He was also a great street racer and even made some dough that way as well on the side. Accidentally stealing a truck filled with explosives, Simon ends up getting arrested, and they suspect him as a terrorist, sending him over to Guantanamo Bay. Ignoring his pleas of innocence, Simon was nearly tortured. It was then a Green Lantern ring popped into the room to save the day, removing him from the facility. And what makes Simon stand out besides his strong origin story is that he has emerald sight. That's right, Simon Baz can see glimpses of the future. He also used to carry a gun with him even while wielding the Green Lantern ring. Why? Because he didn't trust a whole lot of people, obviously, and he wanted a backup in case the ring failed him, which it did a couple of times. We can find more of this reserve member of the Justice League in Justice League of America, Volume 3, Issue 5. Number 3, Captain Atom. Nathaniel Atom making his first appearance in Captain Atom Volume 2, Issue 1. Nathaniel Atom was an Air Force officer in the United States during Vietnam, and after being framed for a crime he did not commit, he was sentenced to death under the watch of Wade Eiling. Now, of course, he didn't want to be executed, so instead he was asked to be part of an experiment that had little chance of survival. I would take that risk. I'm a gambling man myself. The test is just wild. They had the hull of a crashed alien ship and wanted to see how tough it was. So they strapped a nuclear bomb underneath it while our boy Adam was still in the ship. That must be an odd waiting time. I wonder how that feels, just sitting there like, hope it works. Turns out it felt pretty badass considering the alien metal melted to him, and then he shot forward in time by 20 years. Sweet. So Captain Atom, a rather fitting name, joined the Justice League and eventually served as the leader of the Justice League Europe. We can find him front and center in Justice League International, numero 7. Go check it out. Number 2, Steel. John Henry Irons, making his first debut back in '93 in Adventures of Superman issue 500. And after the world lost Superman, John Henry Irons tried to take the Man of Steel's place by using a high-tech suit made of armor. Then once Superman came back, he was simply just referred to as Steel. I mean, OG Man's back in town, you gotta change the nickname. Batman made the conclusion that the Justice League was full of brawn and needed a bit more brains. And boop, Steel has entered the chat. Steel crushed it too. He helped defeat Prometheus and the Queen Bee, and he led the reserve team as well, which included Huntress, Barda, Zuriel, and Plastic Man. He kills it. And finally, at number 1, we have Dr. Light, Kimio Hoshi. Making her first appearance in Crisis on Infinite Earths, issue 4, Kimio Hoshi was a supervising astronomer working in an observatory in Japan. She helped her co-workers as they were following a mysterious phenomenon, and they were watching its path. They were actually so afraid of this thing that she had to make them leave just so she could focus and study this thing in peace. The The Monitor felt threatened from the Anti-Monitor absorbing parallel Earths, of course. So he created a champion. You see where I'm going already. So he sent a beam of energy from the Vega star down to Earth, where it met Kimio. Now she obtained the powers of photonics, and the cool name came along with it as well. She was a member of the Justice League a few times, even the Justice League Europe. And following Infinite Crisis, after her powers were returned, Oracle invited Kimio to join the Birds of Prey. But after she didn't make the cut on their first mission, she found her more suitable location with the Justice League instead. Kicking off the list at number 10, we have Element Woman. Making her debut in Flashpoint Volume 2, Issue 1, she was actually recruited by Cyborg to help prevent an upcoming war between Wonder Woman, Amazon's crew, versus the Aquaman and Atlantean's crew that was destroying Europe. So she tries to help out, but Shade, the changing man, uses his M-Vest to reveal that Element Woman, Emily Sung, was insane. Awesome, okay, cool, way to expose our girl. So Cyborg recruited Emily and other metahumans, and the Justice League figured Element Woman was too powerful to not include in the fun. Come on, you gotta get her in there. Alongside Firestorm and Atom. Like Metamorpho's power, Element Woman could transform into any of the elements found in the human body, and then craft them how she pleases. She uses the metal to change her hair colors, which I wish I could use. Although my hair is already going white. That's great. And before we continue on, guys, if you could go ahead and toss us a thumbs up on this video, because it does help us out quite a bit at the studio. Thank you so very much. You guys rock. Now back to some other Justice League members. Number 9, Mara. Making her first appearance in Aquaman issue 11, Mara has taken the place of Aquaman temporarily. See, Mara was on her way to break through the Crown of Thorns, the invisible magic barrier that had surrounded Atlantis. But before this though, she had thought that Aquaman had died by Atlantean soldiers. She even mourned him at the Curry Lighthouse. So she started attacking the Crown of Thorns. She was pissed, makes sense, and while doing so, she actually created these massive tidal waves. So the Justice League came in, and after the battle, she started to calm down. She realized she was putting like a lot of civilians at risk with these tidal waves. Like one time I had a temper tantrum at the zoo when I was like 3. Straight up just hucked my ice cream cone and it went right over some guy's sneakers. Poor dude. I'll never forget my actions. Horrible, horrible actions. Batman didn't approach me and ask me to be on the Justice League afterwards, but Mara, she was lucky enough to get that, so. She then served as the temporary replacement for Aquaman. Not a bad gig. Number 8, Martian Manhunter. Your kind will fail, your kind will always fail. Those are some of the last words spoken by Martian Manhunter in Final Crisis 1 after he gets trapped in a prison. See, he had originally went there to be undercover as John Jones and regularly would report back to Batman, right? That's a pretty good crew. Then the villains broke free and he was left behind. Not good. So Human Flame had given the villain Libra instructions to kill Martian Manhunter. So Libra went and stabbed Martian Manhunter with a staff in front of the entire secret society of supervillains, and upon his death, he returned back to his Martian form. And in his final moments, he still managed to do his job and send a message back to the Justice League. That's a devoted member right there. And they held his funeral on his home planet Mars with Superman giving the eulogy. So when I die, hopefully Superman will do mine. No, it's probably gonna be someone boring. Sorry, my family's boring. You can find his Justice League time between Justice League Volume 2 and issues 6 and 7. Pretty sweet, check it out.
Coming in at number 7, we have Zod, the born-in-a-lab spawn of an evil Superman and Wonder Woman from the world of the Justice Lords. Named after one of Superman's most iconic villains, this Zod was born on a world where Superman turned to the dark side and turned the Justice League into the Justice Lords following the death of their universe's Flash. Unfortunately, following the birth of Zod, the baby was kidnapped by a brainiac from another universe and locked away in the Phantom Zone, which is probably the least ideal place possible to raise a child. With both Kryptonian and Amazonian blood flowing through his veins, Zod was beyond dangerous even if he just remained a little kid. Coming in at number 6, we have Nightwing, the adopted son of Batman and the very first Robin. While not biologically a child of the Justice League, Dick Grayson has been by Batman's side since nearly the very beginning, essentially adopted by Bruce Wayne following the death of his circus performer parents, and becoming the very first Robin, the Boy Wonder. Since then, Dick Grayson has accomplished a lot, helping found the Teen Titans, establishing his own superhero identity as Nightwing, and even briefly taking over the position of Batman on a few occasions where Bruce Wayne was incapable of performing the role. No matter what the future of the DC Universe brings, Nightwing will always be an incredible fan favorite.
Number 5. Dawn Allen. You can probably guess this one by the name, yes. The daughter of super speedster Barry Allen, aka The Flash. She made her comic book debut with Adventure Comics 373. She's a fun one. She's actually born in the future, during the first crisis. See, this was in the 30th century, before the Legion stuff in the 31st century, right? So they had to hide their powers. They also go by the name of the Tornado Twins, for good reason. They both obtained a small amount of super speed from Barry. So they rescued Wally West, and it was so badass. Like, they knew what they were doing. Just because they aren't as fast doesn't mean that they don't know how to get the job done. So the twins worked side by side, and when they combined their efforts, they were unstoppable. I mean, just these two crazy tornadoes coming at you. I mean, can you be more intimidating? I don't know. Number 4, Bruce Wayne Jr. He's part of the Super Sons, so I have to include him in this list, obviously. Bruce Wayne Jr. We go on over to the 1965 version of Bruce Wayne Jr. making his debut in World's Finest, issue 154. He's the son of Catherine Kane, and as you could have guessed, Bruce Wayne Sr. Yep. He's part of a duo called the Super Sons, and that name is pretty perfect for the gig. Definitely belongs here. Sided by Superman Jr., the two grew up together. I mean, the opening of their issues show them both reading up about their dads and all their crazy achievements. They even get married on the same day. I mean, these are life goals. I mean, I hope me and my super buddies do this one day. Or just me and my buddies get married one day, that'd be nice. My favorite part is seeing the two interact, right? Like Superman's powers, there's one point where Superman's not letting baby Batman down from a teeter-totter. And he's like, nah, I'm not letting you down till you admit that my dad's cooler than yours. And he's like, alright, I guess. And comes back down all shameful. Bruce Wayne Jr. actually grew up forgetting about his father's identity somehow, and then when he was reminded of it, he tried to capture a crook while disguised as Batman. I mean, yeah, if my dad was like, hey, I'm Batman, I'd be like, okay, what size is that? I can probably squeeze in there. It didn't go well for him, you know, the first shot. He didn't gather any evidence. He just went in raw. It wasn't great. So after an argument with his father, Bruce Jr. left to meet up with his other man, Clark Kent Jr. See, they're homies. They don't go too far for a reason. I would watch a buddy cop show with these two just saving people and smashing things up, but they have to be kids. They have to be moody little kids, and they have to require little super naps in the middle of heated battles. That's the deal. Number 3, the Huntress. First appearing in All-Star Comics issue 69 back in 1977, Helena is a lawyer for Cranston, Grayson, and Wayne, but of course, that's not all. Earth 2 is home to the daughter of an older Batman and Catwoman. That's right, when she was only 19 years old, her mother, Selina Kyle, now a retired Catwoman, in the future, died in a tragic mishap, right? Now, to add insult to injury, this henchman, Silky Cernak, was the reason behind this photo that just popped up that shows Selina Kyle as Catwoman murdering a police officer. Not a great photo, not cool. If TMZ was around, they'd be like, oh my god, trending, BuzzFeed, let's do it. This is wild, right? So of course, Helena was upset and wanted to make things right. So she took a page out of her parents' book and became the Huntress. She went after Silky Smooth Cernak and got him arrested. Awesome. Her mother ended up being okay after all. Don't worry, yeah, it turns out she didn't even kill anybody. The photo was tampered with the whole time. Bad guys doing bad stuff. She kept the suit and eventually wound up on the Justice Society of America. See, if you want the truth, kids, you just gotta get a super suit and, you know, wrap some dudes in nets. It's easy. Just make them talk. It's easy. Number 2, Dina Drake, Black Canary. Flower shop owner by day, superhero at night. The classic life thing. She would work alongside Larry Lance before marrying him. How cute. I mean, he died by the hands of Aquarius, and then that forced Dina to move from Earth 2 to Earth 1 to start a new life, but cute nonetheless. But have no fear, it was in doing this that she met Green Arrow, and they of course hit it off. She has this really awesome ability called the Canary Cry, which is what I do when I, don't get what I want. Where basically she just screams really loud, knocking back her foes. It's a great combo with her fighting skills. Her origins are a little confusing. So before the Crisis storyline, there was a 1983 issue that had Starman taking Black Canary to the Thunderbolt dimension, okay? Where she sees a coffin containing Larry Lance and herself. Yeah, here's the scoop. So in the Justice League of America issue 220, it's revealed that Dina and Lance gave birth to a daughter. That daughter was cursed by a magician. The curse being that the child has an ear-piercing scream, So this baby was brought to the Thunderbolt dimension and then was made to believe that her parents were dead. And finally, number 1, Superboy, also known as Connor Kent or Con-El, made his debut in 1993 Adventures of Superman issue 500. So Superboy was created to essentially be a replacement for Superman, right? And they didn't ask me, how rude. So after Superman died fighting Doomsday, knocking him out, Project Cadmus then used Kryptonian DNA to make Superboy. So he's the son of both Lex Luthor and Clark Kent. What a weird combo. They wanted a new hero, they wanted to feel safe, so why not just make a clone of Superman? Easy peasy, right? It sounds fine. Cadmus wasn't able to get Superman's DNA, so they grabbed a human clone, made it look like him, and it turns out if you put a clone near the grave of a dead superhero, you absorb some powers. So Superman's bioelectric aura was absorbed by the clone and thus was given tactile telekinesis, which means you can simulate the powers of Superman for a small amount of time. He even rocked a high-tech visor to solve that problem, you know? He was cool looking, he knew what he was doing. The Metropolis kid wasn't a fan of being called Superboy also, so watch your mouth out there.